Okay, let's go back to one of our stories where we do know that the health department is set to start the process of compensating former mine workers who contracted tuberculosis or silicosis. We are joined by the Deputy Health Minister. Doctor, I hope we can hear you better now, but let's just go back to the original question as to what prompted this action by the health department for compensation and perhaps what took so long for this to happen.
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. I'm sorry I had a bit of flu. You may have a challenge in picking me up. One, I'm already in the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal in Vryheid, where we'll be starting this process tomorrow. First correction is not the Bureau of Health alone. We are working with 3 departments, Department of Health, Department of Employment and Labor, because as you probably know, every person gets employed will have to be registered with the department. Number 2, we are dealing with the sector that is in mining. So Department of Mineral Resources and Energy is part of us. Another correction is not just in South Africa, in the whole of SADC. They are expecting us, even here in Malawi, Mozambique, and Lesotho. So we are working very hard to get there. So there was a bit of a disjuncture that the black mine workers were never looked after since the day they were recruited by DEBA, going all over SADC into our mines in the country. So the riches that we see is at the sweat of them, but never getting any benefit, starting from proper giving them their pensions. And those who were falling sick were simply taken back home, whether Malawi, Lesotho, or KZN, without a proper checkup and the compensation thereon. So this process has started, but we have been working disjointly as 3 departments. We have decided last week we had 3 deputy ministers in the north of KwaZulu-Natal working on this process. So tomorrow, as we're meeting Amakosi and Izinduna headmen last week, we're actually announcing, preparing them that this week we will likely be seeing the very same people. Even those who are deceased, their parents, their relatives can come forward. So from tomorrow, we are starting in Vryheid together with Paul Petersburg. We are seeing, and they have now been informed they must go close to a hospital called Itumbe CHC. Bring whatever documents they have, any evidence of having worked in the mines, and they bring that to us, and we'll be processing it as 3 departments so that they can be paid. Yes, monies have been paid already, especially in the Eastern Cape, where we have 300,000 of our mine workers, former mine workers, but the process has not been as slow and as vigorous as we want to push it. I mean, as you know, my dear sister, they are old, some of them are over 60 years, they are dying, some of them have died. Now, we can't really morally keep this money away from them for so long.
Dr. Dhlomo, I just want to jump in here and ask you how you plan on compensating individuals that come forward, and what happens in a case where the workers have passed on? Will those that benefit be loved ones that have remained behind? How is that process going to unfold?
Yes, you will come in and bring your ID, we check and dump us or any card that you had previously as a mine worker. But for those who have passed on, we ask their relatives to bring forward any documentation that was left by their relatives when they work in the mines. Number 2, if they don't have that, bring a death certificate. They have to check with which hospital they passed on, whether there was in fact evidence of silicosis, TB, asbestosis, or any of these illnesses that are sitting in the lungs. And then the basis of that and that, we will then be able to be assisted to process. And obviously, it's a very different one than if they assess my chest, because there will be doctors, experts tomorrow. If they assess their chest and see the severity, then they will pay you appropriately. But for those who are deceased, we'll be estimating as to this was TB and maybe have a pro rata, sort of a configured figure that they could actually use to pay for those.
Dr. Dhlomo, maybe just tell us if you have an estimate or any indication of how many you are expecting to come forward, or is it just a wait-and-see game, especially because you will be moving from one area to the next, and maybe just tell us which areas you will be focusing on and going to.
For this week, we'll be focusing on tomorrow starting in Paul Petersburg and Vryheid, Monday and Tuesday. On the 26th and 27th, we are focusing on Ulundi and Nongoma. And then the last batch will be in Northern KwaZulu-Natal in Pongola from the 30th of January right up to the 4th, where we'll have even our ministers joining us on the 4th and also be able to record and report to them the progress that has been made. We would like our people to take an advantage of this because we are unlikely to stay in KwaZulu-Natal forever. We have to move to Eastern Cape, we have to move to Northwest, we have to move even to Botswana, we have to move to Zimbabwe, we have to get all over. So take advantage of being in KZN, where there's a big belt of those who worked in the mines, which is the area that I just mentioned now.
Sorry, Dr. Dhlomo, maybe if you have any indication of how many you are expecting to come forward, or are you unable to tell at this stage?
Oh, yeah. Even last week when we were talking to Amakosi and Izinduna, there were hundreds of people who came in here. In the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal, the estimates from the figures that we have from the Teba registry and those that we got from the mining companies is estimated to be around 10,000. But we don't know whether all of them are still alive and well. But that is the number we'll be expecting over the next week to be coming in at these various points where we will be starting from the Itumbe CHC tomorrow and Konjeni Hospital on the 26th, and then Ichele Tuba Hospital on the 30th, and going on right there.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dhlomo. We do appreciate it and we wish you all the best, and hopefully those that have been affected by this will definitely come forward. That is Deputy Health Minister, Dr. Sibongiseni Dhlomo, and we also wish you a speedy recovery because you did say that you aren't feeling too great.